is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin with breaking news. The Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office is investigating the scene in rural Northwood after a body was found this morning at 10:30. Now, the man was found in the 200 block of 41st Northeast. While the investigation is still ongoing, there is not believed to be any danger to the public. And stay with Valley News Live throughout the night for updates on this story. And 3 Grafton brothers have pleaded guilty to the brutal April beating of a 20-year-old outside of a bar, but only one person is seeing prison time. Cristobal, Jason, and Jacob Garza have all pleaded guilty to accomplice to aggravated assault. Cristobal will serve 18 months in prison, while Jacob has 90 days of house arrest, and Jason has 2 years of supervised probation. Now, according to court documents between the 3, they will be paying the victim almost $14,000 in restitution. Their victim, Curtis Graver, was outside of the bar waiting for a friend to run inside and pick them up a pizza. Graver told Valley News Live just days after the assault, his attackers pulled him out of his car and, quote, beat him to a pulp. Graver says he was not robbed. It was just a senseless act of violence. He suffered broken bones in his nose, a dislocated jaw, and a fractured chin, as well as much more. Well, taking a look at our sky cam right now, things are looking very white. Let's send things over to Summer Schombuck with the latest. And Summer, it even looks like there are a little bit of snowflakes even still falling.
That's right. We've had some passing snow showers through the day today. Here's a time lapse of here in Fargo just over the last couple of hours. At times, the flakes have been rather large, falling nice and slowly, beautiful snow globe type snow. And here's a look at the Devil's Lake area where the ditches are looking quite white. I wanted to pass along a few snowfall reports. Now, these are from last night through this morning, so some areas have picked up a bit more than what you're seeing here, but here's a few of the reports that we have. Cormorant, Minnesota, 3.6 inches of snow. A little over 3 inches here in Fargo, 3 in Dunvilla, 2 inches in Deer Creek and Lemoore. And yeah, those flakes are still flying for some of us. You can see a little bit of snow here in Fargo and through the central Red River Valley, and another little batch of snow in between Minot and Devil's Lake. A closer look here in Fargo shows just some light snow, very little wind from Fargo stretching up through Ada, a few flurries in Grand Forks as well. Meanwhile, out to the north and west, Maddock, McCluskey, up through Minot, seeing a bit of that light snow. Temperatures are cool out west, 18 right now in Minot, 17 in Bismarck. The rest of us primarily in the 20s. Bobby, coming up, I'll walk you through your hour-by-hour forecast, how much additional snow we're expecting, and when we might see that sunshine return.
Well, just the last couple, even going into last week, you just said additional snow. I was hoping that, Mother Nature would probably just give us the week off from the, the first snowstorm that we got, but that definitely won't be the case.
I'll put in a request.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll take that. Summer, thank you so much. We'll talk to you in a few more minutes. Well, the man behind the wheel of a deadly Walsh County crash over the weekend is now facing criminal charges. 46-year-old Christopher Thompson is charged with 1 Class A felony of DUI resulting in a death, as well as 1 Class C felony of DUI resulting in injury. Now, North Dakota Highway Patrol were called around 9 p.m. on Saturday to Walsh County Road 9, just east of Edinburgh. Troopers say Thompson's SUV entered the north ditch and struck a tree. 48-year-old Jason Shosky of Wheatland died at the scene, and 5 other people were in the vehicle. Only one of them was additionally injured. Now, court documents say that troopers could smell a strong odor of alcohol on Thompson, as well as noticed his slurred speech and red, glossy eyes. Documents also say that Thompson admitted to having 5 or 6 drinks before getting behind the wheel. Well, the state of Minnesota is joining a huge settlement in regards to Google and its location tracking practices relating to Google account settings. Now, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison announced today that he and a bipartisan coalition of 40 attorney generals have reached a $391.5 million multi-state settlement. Now, Minnesota will receive just over $8.2 million, and attorney generals from North Dakota and South Dakota also participated in the suit, but there is no word yet on how much those states will receive in the settlement. One man is under arrest after police say he shot off a round in his apartment building. Officers were called to a building in the 4100 block of 18th Avenue South yesterday morning for reports of shots fired. Now, police later learned that 35-year-old Christopher Stollard was cleaning his gun and shot a round into the ceiling. Stollard was then arrested for reckless endangerment and neglected discharge of a firearm. Well, Minnesota State investigators are hoping to solve a 35-year-old heartbreak for one Wadena family. Carla Anderson has been missing for 35 years after celebrating being named Employee of the Month at her job. She hasn't been seen or heard from since, and the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is asking anyone who has information on what happened to Carla to come forward. Police suspect foul play but have not recovered her body. If you can help solve this case, contact the Wadena Police Department of the Minnesota BCA. And police in Charlottesville, Virginia have made an arrest in last night's fatal shooting on the University of Virginia's campus. Now, they say the suspect is a former football player who attacked a bus of students returning from an off-campus trip. Deborah Alfron has the very latest from Charlottesville. I'm getting actually word that our story might be not happening right now, but police said that the suspect had been brought to the attention of a UVA threat assessment after comments about possessing a gun in September of 2022 this year. And over in Idaho, 4 college students were found dead over the weekend in what authorities are calling a homicide. Now, police were called to a report of an unconscious person near the University of Idaho in Moscow and found the 4 victims. No other details are being released yet, but families of the victims have been notified, and police say there is no threat to the public. And the morning snow made for a slick drive. Authorities say this car slid off I-94 and into the Buffalo River near Moorhead this morning. No one was hurt, and crews were able to get the driver and the car out of the water. And after a weekend of winter weather, according to the Minnesota State Patrol, over the weekend there were 439 crashes around the state. Now, of those crashes, 43 resulted in injuries, but none were fatal. And MSP said 100 vehicles spun out during that time, and also 7 semi-trucks jackknifed. Well, 3-time Grammy Award-winning singer, performer, and international pop icon Pink is coming to the Fargo Dome. Pink will perform in Fargo on August 19th with special guest group Love and Kid Cut Up. Now, tickets go on sale starting next Monday at 10 o'clock. And for more information on the tour and her shows, you can find that information on our website, valleynewslive.com, and just click on this story. And starting today, you can now send handmade ornaments for the North Dakota State Christmas tree. Now, submitted ornaments can vary in size, but items that are commercially produced or made from kits are not eligible. This year's ornament theme is Inspire Hope, in connection with First Lady Catherine Burgum's platform of instilling hope in people to know that recovery from any disease of addiction is possible. Ornaments must be received by the Office of Management and Budget by November 28th, and the tree will be on display in Memorial Hall at the state capitol. And I'm sure you've all seen it, Vikings fans. It's already being called the catch of the year. Fourth quarter of the Bills-Vikings game, Justin Jefferson making a leaping one-handed catch and held onto the ball after the Bills' Cam Lewis tried to take it away. A 32-yard gain on that pass by Kirk Cousins. The catch kept the drive alive since it was 4th and 18, and the Vikings would get the win in overtime and improve to 8-1. Talk about an amazing catch.